Welcome to the She Wins podcast. I'm your host, Heather Sumlin, and I'm here with the Ellie Breaux.
The Ellie Breaux.
Ellie is Miss Texas. She just got back from Miss America less than 2 weeks ago.
Yes, it's a week from Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
Monday, really.
And she placed first runner up.
Yes.
Which is a bittersweet moment.
Yeah.
But that's so incredibly cool. So I want to learn all about it. So tell me, first of all, obviously, She Wins podcast.
Yes.
I want to know.
Yes.
What's your definition of winning?
Definition of winning, especially from last week. I felt like I won when I gained 50 new sisters. Yeah. I now have a friend or a best friend in every single state of our country.
Okay, so is it actually true that the girls really do genuinely like each other?
Yes, it's true. It's true. I was stereotypical before I even started pageants, but then when I joined the Miss America organization, it's true. We all are sisters. We're all rooting for each other because we're all in the same boat.
So you mean you were like buying into the stereotypes initially?
Yes, I was. Because initially all I saw was TV and TikTok and Instagram and social media and
toddlers and tiaras.
And toddlers and tiaras. And I was like, this could be very brutal. But I didn't realize what it was until I got into it. And then I realized that, okay, all of these girls are empowering women. And I want to be a part of an organization that empowers women.
So something that I've noticed, I've been involved with the Miss Texas organization since 2006. And what I've noticed over all of those years, however many, 18 years, oh my. I'm not old enough to have been involved that long. Just, it doesn't make sense. But what I've noticed is that there is this like undeniable bond that the girls wind up having. No, maybe not with every single person.
Right.
But what I think it is that outside of pageantry, it's pageantry that makes you different, right? And maybe you have these high goals and you're ambitious and all these things. With inside of pageantry, you're all very similar in that way.
Right.
And so it's easier to connect with people because you feel like, oh, she gets me.
Right.
Oh, she understands me. And a lot of y'all have been through some really serious and difficult things, and you have the emotional intelligence and the confidence to talk about those things. It's really a cool place to be.
Yeah. I mean, you said it perfectly. We all are pretty much in the same boat of experiences. We all are a state title holder of our own state. We've all gone through experiences that pretty much favor each other, whether that be an uncomfortable appearance or gaining scholarship. We're all pretty much in school, if not graduated. Some of us are entrepreneurs, business owners. Some people want to go into entertainment news like me. So we all pretty much favor each other, which helps because if I do need help in a certain state, or if I need a connection in Georgia, I can call up Tara, or if I need something in Arkansas, I can call up Corey. So it's just nice to know that we're all achieving greatness, and we can do it together.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about, and this doesn't have to have anything to do with pageant. This is kind of like just standard question that I tend to ask.
Yes.
Tell me about a defining moment in your life.
You know, my dad, when I was going into college, my freshman year, and I really don't talk about this because it goes right over my head. But when I joined, when I went into college my freshman year, I did not want to be a part of the dance team. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be focused on school, and then pursue modeling or any other marketing social media opportunities outside of my college. Well, my dad, Greg, he pushed me to a point where I really didn't have a choice but to try out for the dance team, because he wanted me to be a part of an organization that would push me and make me have responsibilities and to be dedicated to something. And so, of course, I was like, well, I really don't have a choice because you're pretty much making me. And so I tried out for the dance team my freshman year, ended up making it. And that year was the year that I won my very first local in the Miss Texas organization. So had it not been for Greg, my dad, I would not be here right now because he was the one who pushed me to be on the dance team.
Explain how the dance team connects to the pageant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Backstory. So I joined the dance team. You know, I was there since August, or really July, because we had to go in early, up until 2020, January, February is when my coach got an email saying that there was a local pageant in Keller, Texas, and there was $1,000 scholarship prize, and I needed money. Backstory, that second semester of school, I actually got dropped from all my classes because I didn't pay the amount of tuition.
Did you just forget? Like, what happened?
I registered for my classes, in November, December, but then you go to Christmas break, and then you come back, and my payment plan was that I had to pay like all of it up front. I shouldn't have picked that plan. If you're a student, do not pick that plan. Start with the down payment and then pay the rest off through the months. And so they dropped me from all my classes, and I quite literally did not have any money. And my dad was like, well, I don't have $5,000 to throw at this school right now. Like, what are we going to do? So I got dropped from all my classes. I started crying. My coach was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Because I had to be a full-time student to be on the dance team. So technically I wasn't even allowed to go to practice. And I wasn't the only one. It was me, Sarah, Cameron, Whitney. It was 4.
You gotta call them all out.
Yeah. All my girlfriends, we were all in the same boat. But I was like, you know what? My coach just got that email too. And I went to the, financial services and said, hey, can I switch my plan over to this? Can I start with a down payment? And then my coach got the email saying, hey, we have a pageant down the street, $1,000 scholarship prize. I said, you know what? I'm going to go for it. She told the entire team, but then she also told a couple of us that really needed it, like me, Cam, Whitney, and all us. And I was the only one who took upon the opportunity to go and get this scholarship money. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm going to go for this local. I didn't really realize what I was signing up for because I was not a pageant watcher. I mean, I watched Miss Universe here and there because it was on ABC and Steve Harvey was the host and all of that. But I'd never watched Miss America or, Miss USA because it wasn't on a local channel that my family had. And so if it wasn't on ABC or CBS, I just wasn't watching it. We were a sports family. So we were watching the NFL or basketball or whatever, or gymnastics, Olympics. But after I won that local and I gained the $1,000, I thought I was done. And then my director, Michelle Donato, was like, oh, you're competing for Miss Texas this year. And then COVID happened, unfortunately. So then I got to wait a year and actually prep and understand what the Miss Texas organization is about. And then I competed in 2021. So, yeah.
Yeah, without
Crazy.
without your father basically telling you, you will. I think it's very smart, though, of him because he's saying you need a community. You need an outlet. It's going to help you stay fit. It's going to help you get some endorphins. It's going to give you friends. Like, it's a very wise decision on his part. Go, Dad.
Go, Dad.
But your dad is smart for a lot of reasons. Yeah. Like, he's a little bit of a hero.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little about your platform, what you advocate for, and what you're doing with your role as Miss Texas?
Yes. So after I got crowned Miss Keller, my platform was actually special needs. My mom's a special needs teacher, and so I wanted to help special needs understand their communities, but also help our communities understand who they are and help them feel as comfortable as possible in any situation they're in, whether it's school, in the community, at work. And then, unfortunately, we got pulled from our school. We had COVID. And then on top of that, the George Floyd incident happened. And not only was I at home on lockdown because of COVID, but I was on lockdown because of the riots and the dangerous incidents that were happening in Houston because of this incident. And at that moment, I was a minority who was upset at police officers, but I was also the daughter of a police officer. And it was a really tough time for me to wrap my head around what was going on because half of me is angry and upset. But the other half of me is worried and scared that my dad's not going to come home because he was on call the entire time this was happening. And so it was rough because I had to process all of the emotions and figure out how to move forward. And prior to that, I had never even talked about what my dad did as a profession because of all the social media and the backlash that police officers always get. I never even said, hey, my dad's a police officer. That was never the first thing that came out of my mouth to anyone, to a friend, to maybe a boyfriend. That was never my first thing. Like, oh, my mom's a teacher, my dad's a police officer. Like, no. But after that, my director, Michelle Donato, pushed me to start a platform that helped bridge the gap between police officers and their communities. Well, my dad said no a million times because he was afraid of what would happen to me.
That maybe that would be a difficult sell or you would get some negativity.
100%. And the thing is, in life, you're never going to have everyone agreeing with you. That goes for every single profession, every single opinion. No one's going to ever agree with you 100%. Except for this man up there. But
well, he's not going to agree with you 100%.
And he's not going to agree with you either. So
no, unless you're agreeing with him 100%.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yes. And so I argued with my dad a lot. I mean, it was arguments and tears and just a lot of emotion because of how worried he was for me and my safety, just in case something did happen to me. But I didn't listen. I pushed forward with my platform, Cops in the Community, which is helping bridge the gap between police officers and the communities. The communication between those two has faltered throughout the years. We have not been able to actually sit down. First of all, with the time frame that we've had, this year, the last year, the year before that, especially during COVID, that was our time to have conversations, whether that be on Zoom, in person, with a mask, whatever, to have those conversations that could help us heal. And so that was my goal, and that's still my goal and mission as Miss Texas, and even past Miss Texas. Once I'm done, I partner with the nonprofit Patrol Stories, and we go to elementary schools, K through 6th grade, to talk about public safety and to really humanize the badge, allow for our local first responders to see their youth, their future, but also to help our future and our youth see their local responders, and to show them that they are truly here to help and serve and protect you.
So it's a really cool school program. So just in case y'all don't know,
and all types of stuff.
I had an opportunity to go. My daughter Ashley did some pictures for Patrol Stories, so I got to go and watch the show. And it's a big production, and it's super fun. So if you're an administrator for a school and you want an amazing school presentation, something that's educational but also extremely fun and interactive, Patrol Stories is a great addition.
Yes.
I loved it. I thought it was really cool. And you'll have multiple different shows for different age groups and that kind of thing.
For sure.
So, okay, we just got back from Miss America.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So I want to know, and obviously you did amazing.
Thank you.
You did amazing. First runner-up is the best you can possibly do.
Right.
Without bringing home the crown.
Right.
It is, and it's the best that Texas has done since Shyla Phillips in 2007.
Yes.
So shout out to Shyla. Shout out to you.
Yes.
What an incredible honor and opportunity. And for me to be able to be one of your pieces of your team here. Okay, so I have a couple questions. Number one, is there anything you would do different?
No. I went into the week focused, but also relaxed and calm. And I talked to you a lot about it.
Cool. It was really nice.
Yes, I went in as soon as I left Houston. I mean, literally when I took off. Think of a music video. You're looking outside the window in the airplane, and you're just flying into the sunset.
Painting the picture,
okay? And when I took off, I was like, okay, there's a possibility that I'm not coming back home. Taking this moment and taking every moment up until the week is over. Really absorb everything that's happening, because it's not going to happen again. And you taught me that, because you're like, just absorb everything, because there is no do-over with this. And so that was the mindset that I went in with Miss America, and I had so much fun. I made so many friends. I think I laughed and cried the entire week. I mean, like, cried hysterically, not cried like legitimately. Right. And that was the same mindset that I had at Miss Texas. I wanted to go in relaxed, fun, because ultimately the work is done. You can't prep anymore. You can't practice anymore. You're already there. It's like the competition has started. And so when I took off, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in with a free-flowing mind. I landed in Florida, and I was ready to take on the competition, but also I was ready to have fun. And that's what I did.
Perfect. Yes. What's your advice? Because there's probably someone watching. It's like, gosh, I kind of want to be Miss Texas. I want to experience Miss America. Like, what do I do? How do I get involved? What's your advice?
Well, definitely do not fall into the stereotypical mindset. because that hindered me for the first year. That's what I thought. But also just to allow yourself to feel all of the emotions. I told you a lot about this too. Like, I would get so nervous to where there was like pits in my stomach. But nerves are good, and you want to use those nerves as positive energy to perform. And so if you're nervous about joining the Miss Texas organization, or nervous about a job, or nervous about a relationship, just allow yourself to feel those emotions, and go through the process and the emotions, and allow yourself to grow, because ultimately those feelings and those nerves are helping you grow into a better person. And that is what the Miss Texas organization did for me. It allowed me to grow. And now I am super successful. I never thought I would actually be in this position. But I just allowed myself to feel and allow myself to be nervous, even with the pits and the almost wanting to throw up. I'm like, nope. Just allow myself to feel, but also allow myself to have that energy, that positive energy going through the organization.
I remember, I guess, your first year competing. So I have yet to have anyone I've never heard anyone say anything negative about you. I have no idea. I'm sure there's somebody out there who doesn't like you.
Somebody hates me.
I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is, but I have yet to have anybody. The thing that I hear is just, she's just, what's the word for it? Like, enthusiastic and fun and genuinely joyful. Like that just seems like that's your essence all the time. So how do you find that?
I think God just put me together like this, but I just always want to look at the positives in things. Because I did have a point in time where I was always looking at the negatives and what more can I do? And I think that just in life does not get you anywhere. It really doesn't. Focusing on, let's say, somebody else and what they're doing, or focusing on, well, I messed up this turn. Now I'm going to get deducted 3 points. And side note, I did mess up. I'm going to put it all out there.
You messed up on your talent?
I messed up on my talent finals night. I dropped the ribbon. Nobody could ever tell, but I did. My coach could tell. But
you
the first
drop, or you didn't drop?
I did drop it. See, you would never know.
You didn't drop it.
So when I did the pullback, I caught it and I accidentally threw it by accident. I was supposed to just turn, but I guess I didn't have a hold on it, and it flew out of my hand. And
then is that when you went and you did?
And I did a little rope around my thing, and I picked it up, and then I went into the turn.
So you just faked it.
Yeah. That
was very good.
Yeah, nobody could tell, but I knew deep down that I messed up. And it hit me hard, like when I messed up, and then all I could do when I ran off stage was I wanted to cry, but I did not shed a tear because at that moment I was like, I have evening gown next phase. Yeah. Pick it up.
You have to put it in. You have to like close that door to open the next one.
Yes. Yeah. And so instead of dwelling in that moment, which I could have, which I used to do when I was actually competing in rhythmic gymnastics, I would dwell on every mistake that I made. In that moment, I looked at the positives and I was like, you know what? It's part of being a performer. Yeah. I performed. Pretty much nobody could tell that I messed up. And I moved on. And I looked at the positives of it instead of looking at the negatives, because then that probably would have hindered me in my evening gown performance.
It would have caused problems.
Yeah. So I just was like, you know what? I'm going to look at the positives. And that really does get me through life.
One thing, I think we're going to tackle it in the Patreon channel, because we have a Patreon membership for pageant participants. So if you're not a Patreon member, I highly recommend that you join, because I do want to pick your brain about what it was like to be in finals as contestant number 1. I also want to pick your brain about what it was like to have to handle the switcheroo from, we think we're going to do onstage question one way, but we're going to do it different. And then you pulled up by far the hardest topic. Yeah. So I want to definitely get into those things for Patreon members. But for the rest of our podcast, what I really want to know is, how has the journey towards Miss Texas changed you?
Wow. Even thinking about it, I want to cry. Like happy tears, not sad tears. I've gotten to meet so many amazing people through this journey. Oof. It really has changed my life. It really has changed my life. Starting from when I first started competing at Miss Keller, I met so many other sisters that are just here in Texas. Avery being my first friend, Avery and Jaylene, they took me out to dinner like 3 days after I won Miss Keller.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, so those are my first friends. And then when I competed at Miss Texas, it was Mallory. And then she won that year. And she's one of my closest friends as well.
Mallory Fuller, and that was her roommate.
And that was my roommate.
Texas.
That was my very first roommate. Love her. But then, like, you know, throughout the years, the last 3 or 4 years, I have grown so much. I have learned how to publicly speak. I've learned how to embrace my natural hair because, believe it or not, my first year in college, my hair was blonde.
We need pictures.
Yes. Believe it or not, it was blonde and dead and it was a mess. But I learned how to do my makeup. It's like the little things too. Like, I learned how to do my makeup. I learned how to do my hair. I learned how to publicly speak. I grew my modeling business. I'm now freelancing with plenty of businesses, modeling businesses and stuff, including Sherry Hill. I've worked with Varsity, continuing to work with Varsity as a dance brand, dance cheer brand. I have just grown so much because of one local pageant to win $1,000.
I think it's amazing to me because pageantry is a journey of self-discovery, and it allows you to learn networking skills, communication skills, confidence building, all of the things. And then the other things that you're talking about that you can use for the rest of your life.
Rest of my life. Because ultimately, you only have Miss Texas for a year. I mean, you can compete and have that sisterhood. Every year you compete and not win and still win scholarship money. But ultimately, when you win Miss Texas, you have that 1 year, and then you go into Miss America and you win Miss America. You only have 1 year. So, you know, you got to make the most of it. It's those years before and then the years after are the ones that truly count. Because after Miss Texas, you know, I'm into the real life now. I got to get a job. I have to find an apartment. I'm not going to be living with Jackie anymore. But it's just like, I have grown so much, and it's set me up for success outside of pageantry. So
I think one thing to note for those who don't understand pageant, have never been around it, it's probably the only sport. I'm going to call it a sport.
It is a sport.
It's a sport. It's probably the only sport. A couple of things. It's the only sport where there's more than one person who deserves the win, but only one is recognized. It's also the only sport where you can't go back and defend your title. So in most cases, like my dad was a rifle shooter, Olympic champion, and he was able, when he won the silver medal in the Olympics in 1972, he could go back and earn his way back to the Olympics in 1976 to finally earn gold. You can go back until you win or are age out for the state title.
Right. But once
you've been Miss Texas, like you can't go to Miss America. So everybody at Miss America is at the same level.
Yes.
They've won their state, but they've never been to nationals. And it's really cool. So your come June, when's finals for Miss Texas?
June 29th.
June 20th. So come June 29th.
Yeah.
You crown the next girl.
And it's over.
And you better be setting another goal.
Yes. And I am so happy that I am Miss Texas because we have already been working on what is to come after. And that was always my plan from the get-go, starting July 1st of last year when I was crowned. I have my plan. I have my mission on what I was going to do as Miss America. But my mission for Miss America was already going to happen regardless if I won Miss America or not.
Right.
So the mission to bridge the gap, the mission to get patrol stories nationwide. We're talking about a pageant combine. All of those seminars that were in my plan to be Miss America, to take to Miss America, it's still going to happen.
It's just going to happen.
It's just going to happen as Miss Texas.
Right.
And so, like you said, you only have that 1 year. You can't go back. And so the plans to continue this last 5 months.
I love that you have that stamina and energy and excitement to end your year strong.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. I gave myself 48 hours.
Yes.
To feel the emotions. And
I did talk to you within that 48 hours. Yes.
I think we talked like at least 3 times.
I might have been your first call. I don't know.
Yes. Because, when you're first runner up, it's hard. You're like, dang, like, what was it? What was it that it was like about me that they were like, not enough?
Yeah, but that's not the case.
But it's not.
That's not the case.
And so that in that moment,
if you were in last place, maybe that's the case. But like,
I called Heather and I'm like, oh my God. Like, a part of me was so happy. And you can tell on the video, or when I'm, Maddie gets crowned, I'm happy for her because I love, Maddie is an amazing human being. I mean, she's active duty military. Like, she's a bad girl. Like, wow. But then after the adrenaline slowed down and I went to bed and I woke up the next morning realizing that I quote unquote lost, that is when those emotions started kicking in. And that's when you call your mental management, your Heather Sumlin, to get you through your emotions. But I allowed myself to feel and to understand and process. And then I got back to work. I flew out on, I think that was Monday? I flew out that night. Thank God I got out because some people didn't get out.
Yeah, because we had an ice storm in Texas, yeah.
Texas does not know how to deal with ice, but that's a whole nother story. But I flew out, came back home. I understood. I processed a little bit more. And then I got back to work. I was like, okay, patrol stories, where are we at? How many schools do we have in January? Okay, let me put those on my calendar. And I just started getting a lot of other opportunities. I have a photo shoot next week in Florida. I'm going back to Florida. It's so crazy. I fly out on Monday, come back Tuesday, fly out on Thursday, back to Florida. I don't know why I did that, but the businesses did that. But I'm going back to Florida again to work with Varsity. And so I immediately did not have the time to dwell for weeks about this opportunity because ultimately I did win. Yeah. In my head, now that I have processed the emotions, I won Sisters. I won the opportunity to compete on the Miss America stage, and I got first runner-up.
You won the most scholarship money you could without winning the crown.
Quite literally.
So, and you won preliminary gown award.
Yes.
So, even more money.
Yes, $13,000.
Yeah.
Going to the Masters.
Awesome.
Yes.
So you were a Patreon member leading up to Miss Texas or Miss America. So can you tell people why they should join Patreon?
Well, there's a specific which one did I watch? You know which one I watched. Audio.
Mental Toughness for Pageantry audio program is on the Patreon. Pageant, the Solution for Pageantry Patreon level.
Yes. I played that pretty much every time I got into the car. I mean, it was just on my music. It would be there when I got in the car, and I would just listen. Because ultimately, if I wasn't listening to that, I probably was either in silence thinking about what was the next thing I had to do or what the next appearance that I had to be at what time. But, I mean, that would already stress me out thinking about what was ahead. And so to be able to listen to something that not only motivated me, but calmed me, taught me things, helped me learn how to process certain things, just by driving. I couldn't even, sometimes I probably wasn't even paying attention to the thing, but it was just there. And then you never know what you pick up on when you're driving. You're listening to this thing in the background, but really it's not background. It's there.
It's in the forefront.
It's in the forefront, and you're just driving or wherever you're going. So it was definitely very helpful, especially before Miss America, to listen to something that motivated me to be calm, but also to process the emotions and to learn how to win-win.
And to be purposeful in your preparation.
Yep.
So, awesome. I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to work with you in preparation for Miss America and continue to work with you for the rest
of my life because...
probably.
Life.
Yeah. Okay,
I need you.
Okay, so you're just going to be a forever client. I love
forever
it.
Client.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Like this if you do. Follow Ellie. Where can they follow you?
The Ellie Breaux. Literally TheElliebreaux. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. That's all I got for now. But we're gonna start YouTube. We're gonna discuss that.
Ooh,
hopefully.
YouTube channel coming soon. I love it. All right, thank you so much, Ellie.
You.
Like this if you do. Share it with a friend. If you have not considered competing in a pageant or you have a daughter who needs to, go to missamerica.com. Is that
missamerica.com and misstexas.org.
.org.
Or .org, yes.
Awesome. Have a blessed rest of your day.